During our stay in Izmir, we drove north about 2 hours. First to the seaside town of Dikili to get a seafood lunch on the water. While we were there, a tanker ship happened to be coming into port. It was interesting to watch the two tugboats shepherd it in and park after their job was done. After lunch, we headed east to Bergama, site of the 2,300-year-old Greek city of Pergamon. Home to one of the original 7 Christian churches of Asia, it was also known for hosting a great library, second in antiquity only to the famed Library of Alexandria in Egypt. At the top of the entry ramp, a model and a labeled sign show what the Acropolis looked like during Roman times. The Pergamon Museum in Berlin, Germany, contains similar images that give an idea of what the city once looked like. In the Berlin illustrations, the side of the hill is alive with daily activities. Today, the windswept ramp hints at what once was. Atop the Acropolis, once palatial residences are now reduced to footers that outline the walls. The grand temple of Trajan and Zeus is more recognizable, with rebuilt marble columns towering above the hilltop. And next to it is the square where the great library once stood. Adjacent to the library, the Sanctuary of Athena was the oldest temple in Pergamon, dating back to the 4th century BCE. Perched on the edge of the Acropolis, it overlooked the theater. Access to the theater is through a steep tunnel staircase. Like the theater itself, the tunnel is dug into the side of a steep hill. The steepest of all ancient theaters, the Theater of Pergamon overlooks the Selinus River, the same view the ancient Greeks and Romans would have had. These now crumbling seats held up to 10,000 citizens who turned out for speeches, plays, and other kinds of entertainment. About an hour's drive south of Izmir, Selçuk is where you can visit the ancient ruins of the Greek and Roman city of Ephesus. Driving in, the town felt very clean and modern, but our hotel was located in a wonderful old section of town. The hotel landscaping and decor were beautiful, among the best we'd ever seen. About a 15-minute drive out of town, another nearby landmark is the shrine of the House of the Virgin Mary. Believed to be the final home of the Mother of Jesus, it's located in the hills above town. A major Catholic pilgrimage site, as the size of the parking lot would indicate, Mary was supposedly brought here by St. John the Apostle. Weekly masses are held outside, as the house itself is small and humble. A shrine is built inside, but photos were forbidden. Just up the hill from our hotel is the Basilica of St. John, who is also believed to have spent his last years in Ephesus after he traveled from Jerusalem with Mary. It's also believed that he wrote the Gospel of John on this hill called Ayasuluk, dying sometime around the year 100 CE. In the 4th century, Emperor Constantine the Great built a small church on the Hagia Souk hill over where the saint is supposed to be buried. 200 years later, Emperor Justinian built the larger basilica. The fortress higher up on Hagia Souk hill was built a century later. The nearby aqueduct was built around the same time. Hagia Souk hill marks the northeastern corner of ancient Ephesus. Below the hill used to be the Temple of Artemis, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It exists today as a model in the Ephesus Archaeological Museum. A single column is all that stands in the original site. The cult surrounding the fertility and mother goddess Artemis was a major part of the life and economy of ancient Ephesus and played a significant role in the early Christian period of the city. At its peak, Ephesus was one of the largest cities in the Roman Empire. While only about 15% of the city has been excavated, it's still one of the most extensive Roman archaeological sites today. Entering from the southeast, you walk through the government administrative agora. Behind the agora, the Bouleuterion, or Odeon, is where the city council would meet and debate issues of the day. Caretas Street leads away from the agora. One of the city's major streets, you can imagine hundreds of Ephesians walking along its rows of columns to the main part of the city. The entrance to the public baths is just off Caretas. One of several bath complexes in the city, this is the only one that has been excavated. Bathing was a daily communal activity throughout Roman society. Within these walls, Romans met with friends, conducted business, and even courted one another. Even the latrine was communal. As unthinkable as it is today, it was perfectly normal for Romans to keep conversations going while taking care of business. Fresh water flowed in the channel in front of the seats for cleansing, and also flowed underneath to flush waste out into the sewers. Beside the baths, also on Caretas Street, the Temple of Hadrian was once adorned with statues and other decor. Across the street, the terrace houses were where Ephesus's rich and famous lived. Elaborately laid out on the side of the hill, this was some of Ephesus's most prime real estate. Fine stone columns and tile were frequent building materials. Elaborate frescoes covered the walls. Detailed mosaics and other tile work decorated the floors. The people who lived here were some of the wealthiest in the entire Roman Empire. Their riches built on the trade and pilgrims to the Temple of Artemis coming through the city's harbor. Like a lot of prime real estate, the terrace houses also come with a great view of the city. The Library of Celsus stands at the end of Caretas Street. It was the third largest library in antiquity, behind only Alexandria and Pergamon. Built in 125 CE in memory of Roman governor Tiberius Julius Celsus Ptolemaios, it was paid for with his personal wealth, and he is buried in a sarcophagus beneath it. Walking through the Gate of Augustus beside the library, you enter the Agora Commercial Marketplace. Larger than the nearby Agora of Smyrna in Izmir, its size speaks to Ephesus's status as the most important center of trade in the Eastern Aegean. The nearby Harbor Street connects the marketplace with the all-important harbor. The Aegean Sea used to come all the way up to the main part of the city, but silt accumulation slowly pushed the water back. The economy of Ephesus died along with its harbor. Today, the sea is over 3 kilometers away. The Ephesus Amphitheater, possibly the largest in the ancient world, dominates the center of the city. During the early days of the Christian church in Ephesus, the theater was the site of a major demonstration. The sale of miniature Artemis figurines and other fertility totems was big business in Ephesus. The merchants of the city saw the growth of Christianity as the threat to their business and provoked thousands of citizens to proclaim the greatness of Artemis in the theater. When Christianity became the official religion of the empire, the temple to the mother and fertility goddess was closed and eventually replaced by the nearby Church of Mary. Our last night in Selçuk was also our last night in Turkey, so we marked the occasion a short walk from our hotel. An afternoon with local wine by the pool, followed by a sunset dinner, was the perfect way to close out our time in this amazing country.